What's up, guys? My name's Alex Nelson.
And I'm Tyler Bailey,
And we want to welcome you to Versed,
where we talk about our life experiences that have brought us here.
and becoming more versed into what matters to us. Let's get it.
Let's go.
Welcome back.
Episode 2, baby.
How you doing?
I'm phenomenal. How are you?
I'm great.
Let's go, dude.
You fired up?
Always.
What did you do today?
Church.
Okay.
And now we're here. And we're rocking and we're rolling. What time did you get up this morning?
5:50. Yo, I stared at that ceiling for so long. I texted didn't mean to do that. I zoned out for 2 seconds. What time did you get up? 5:50. I got up at 5:50. I hit.
Did you hit snooze?
I did. I got up at 5:50. I rolled over. I'm crying on that one. I rolled over, and I hit my alarm. I was just like, oh, just go back to sleep. Just close my eyes. I fell asleep for like almost 20 more minutes. No, about 15 more minutes. And then I panicked because call time is 6:50. Yeah. It takes about 25-ish minutes. But about 20 minutes to get to church. Played 2 services, and then I'm here.
Bro, you know what's nuts?
Huh?
Like, we've been keeping up with Masters of the Air.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, if you don't know what Masters of the Air, it's on Apple TV. It's a World War II movie. But it's the World War II story being told from bombers, pilots.
Yeah, it's
bomber
their
pilots.
perspective.
It is crazy.
Which Band of Brothers
Bro.
and Masters of the Air,
Yeah.
it's literally the same.
You
It's the
got-
same timeline, isn't it?
Yeah, it's World War II. I mean, they're doing the same thing.
Because his Band of Brothers was on the ground
Yep.
of the 101st.
Yep.
Masters of the Air is
101st
happening at the same
Airborne,
time.
and then you got the 100th.
Did you see that?
What was that?
I have no idea. Something's here. Okay, continue.
There's an oil on this.
Jesus.
But in Masters of the Air, those scenes where they're getting up at they're being woken up at 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning.
Oh yeah, and they don't know.
For a freaking mission.
Yeah, they don't know their time.
And they can't,
They literally have to be ready.
can't hit snooze.
No, gosh. Yeah, I'd probably be fired.
You're not flying today. You'd be like, thank God.
Thank God.
I
Turn
get
my
to
phone off.
Dude. But bro, that's crazy to me. Because they have all the briefing, and then they had...
Which my take on the show, if you watch Band of Brothers, any Band of Brother lovers out there, it's the best show ever. If you love Saving Private Ryan, you'll love Band of Brothers.
Band of Brothers takes the cake.
No, it's literally the best, because we had this conversation like a couple weeks ago, and it's probably by far one of the top best shows ever created. If you like that sort of stuff,
I'm in complete agreement with you. I think it is, especially from a World War II perspective.
yes, because it's literally like Saving Private Ryan, but it's expanded into a series.
Yeah, great episode.
And shout out Tom Hanks,
Yeah, dude.
the GOAT.
Yeah, I think I've watched Band of Brothers from beginning to end.
Let me guess. 7, 10,
10 more.
15,
Got to be close to that.
43.
Minus 12.
43 minus 40. That's 3.
Somewhere along those lines.
Okay, that's perfect.
But it's such a good. It's so good. It's just so good, and it's entertaining. But it's crazy how they bring in the actual characters, the people in real life, the soldiers of the real time when they were still alive.
What were we talking about, Band of Brothers?
Yeah, Band of Brothers. When they were doing them
yeah.
in the beginning of each episode, when they're telling us their experience of what happened.
Oh, yeah.
That's nuts. But so for me, when we're talking about Masters of the Air, I had no idea about the stories of dude, every episode. How many planes do they send up? 30 to 40 planes on each mission?
No, it was more than that. I think it was like 50
just
to
from their
60.
base.
Oh, no. Yes.
Just
Total,
from their
it's
base,
like
right?
90.
From the 100th.
Yes.
Right? And how many of them, like, usually, like, it's a successful mission.
Half or more than half would end up not coming back.
That's insane.
That's nuts.
So you want to talk about, like, real life? Like, that's crazy.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. To me, I have a different respect for pilots after this show.
100%.
I literally had no idea. I had no idea this is what, like, that's what it was. Like, it is insane. The flak, like the terror.
Yeah. If you haven't seen the show, there's the one scene where, what's his name? Not Babyface. It is Babyface.
Oh, the one where you get stuck?
Is that his name?
Yeah, Babyface.
It's Babyface. Yeah, where
Yeah.
he gets stuck. And it's just that decision of like, man, I can't help you.
So that could lead into this topic of don't overthink it. Whoa.
That's good.
So in this show, in this episode, and here's the thing, I don't know if that's we don't know if that's an actual real.
Well, that's what's hard about honestly, that's what's hard. My personal opinion, you know how many times we have seen Band of Brothers. I wish the intro of Band of Brothers would have been like Masters of the Air. That's my personal opinion, because you never saw the experience of their training camp.
Yeah.
So you don't know how they were trained.
Yeah.
They talk about their base camp, but there's no like, but in the context of like, it just the first episode is they're on their actual base and they literally get on the plane.
It takes you from beginning to end on Band of Brothers compared to Masters of the Air. You're like, you jump right into it. You're like,
Yes.
what's going
Which
on here?
part of me is not
I hear
a
you.
fan of that.
Yeah.
And then I want more from Austin.
I think
Butler.
we're gonna get that though. Like, I think there's gonna be more scenes. Like, but to tie back to this Babyface scene, essentially this soldier was he a gunner? Was he a gunner? Or
Yeah, he was the bottom. He was like under the belly of the
I
plane.
forget what they call it, like a turret or like a.
Because it goes 360, right?
Yeah, I forget what that's called in this moment.
I
but-
can't remember.
But dude,
But he's basically in the belly of the plane.
yeah. So
bottom.
the plane's going down, and his exit latch to get out of the plane is stuck. It's jammed.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other kid who's in the plane with him, I forget his name at this time, but he's trying to get him out, but he's like, it's jammed, and Babyface is crying
Dude,
like.
I knew exactly what he was going to do.
Bro,
I knew
you saw it on his face.
already knew the outcome.
And essentially, he's just like, I can't get you out of here.
Because the door, it got jammed.
It's jammed. He can't get it. Babyface can't get out.
Dude, okay.
And the plane
Fired
is
me
going
up.
down, and there's literally just them two left in the plane. Everybody else
Mhm.
got out. And then Babyface is like screaming, "Don't leave me!" And I'm like, "Oh my gosh!"
Which Tom Hanks and they do such a great, like they did in Band of Brothers, especially like Saving Private Ryan. They make you as if you're in the shoes of a soldier.
Which is really good.
So they made the tension of you're actually in the airplane and
Yeah.
you're experiencing what Babyface is experiencing.
Yeah.
He's actually going to die.
Yeah.
So his friend actually can't save him.
Yeah. But that's what I'm saying. It's like, you know that term Monday morning quarterback?
Can I be honest with you?
Literally?
No, literally, I've actually literally never heard that phrase before.
Okay, so here's a cool phrase, and here's something that I can help teach you right now.
Yes.
When I was a cop,
Okay.
any scenario you go through, like real life, people would give their opinion and be like, "Oh, why'd you do it like this? You should have done it like this." It's called Monday morning quarterback because think about like in football, games are played on Sundays usually in the NFL, right? Monday morning they watch film and then they critique you and they're like, "Whoa, this is where you went wrong here. This is where you went wrong here." But the whole moral of the saying, right, is the fact that like you can't judge someone when you weren't in that situation, right?
Oh, I see what you're
It's
saying.
like how are you to tell me what you would have done? Like you don't know what I was thinking, you don't know what I was feeling, like wild stuff. So in that scenario in Masters of the Air, it's as if I'm not military. Like we are not military.
No.
So like I'm not like I can't give an opinion on that. But like as a viewer, being a fan of the show, it's like, oh my gosh, like you have a choice.
Oh, 100%.
You like literally like fight to the death to try and get your homie out, even though the reality is it's like you're not.
Oh yeah.
The door is jammed. The plane is nosediving.
Oh no, it's probably 300 to 500 feet from
It's crazy.
from the ground.
Yeah, it's insane.
It's nuts.
But then, like, I don't know. And so the choice he made was, I'm sorry. He literally says, I'm sorry. And he bounces.
Mm-hmm.
And he leaves him. And he dies.
I was pretty upset.
It's sad.
It is very sad. And then if you've never seen the show, but it's the outcome of where he ends up.
Yeah.
Where he ends up, part of me, I'm thinking like, well, you reap what you sow.
Yeah.
Which that's horrible. That's a selfish thing. I was not in those shoes, but it was an opportunity. Like, I'm not a soldier, but it was just like one of those things. Like you lay down your life for the man next to you.
Exactly.
So it was just like that, like you're saying.
Yeah.
Overthinking the situation, but it's just like
Yeah.
thinking of myself.
Yeah.
Babyface. I don't know if I can. Does that make sense?
Oh, totally. And I think that, I don't know. It's just wild to me that there's some people who have to face life like that daily. And then there's some people that won't ever have to face that type of decision in their life.
Oh yeah.
But it's like when you're met with that scenario, what are you going to do? That's where it's like, you almost have to plan ahead. Like, okay, if this happens, right? So you don't overthink it. Like, you're like, what should I do here? But I think it's so important. Like, it's such a good, like, no matter what, we're not like critiquing this dude. Like, if this happened in real life, like, I'm not critiquing and be like, oh, he made a
100%.
terrible choice leaving Babyface. Like, dude, that's not what I'm saying.
No, 100%.
What I'm saying is, like, we should think ahead, right? And I think in the Bible,
I think my mic's coming up.
oh no.
Is it loud? You can't. Okay.
Oh, good. But I think in the Bible, in relation to all that, like it literally says, like, there will be trials and tribulations. Like, you know, there are scenarios that are going to come where you are going to be faced with a decision.
Yeah.
And it's like, you should be planning ahead, knowing like, hey, that's it. It's like the word is so important. You know?
Oh, 100%.
I don't know how I got there, but like,
No. That's
it's
so
wild
good.
to me.
No, that's good. What are moments like even when you're a cop, you can look back and you knew the situation was so easy, but you 100% overthought it, and you created such this scenario. It became
Yeah.
fearful.
Yeah.
And you had almost anxious thoughts when on the other side, it was just like,
Yeah.
I literally pushed myself in this type of way.
Yeah.
Now my body physically is affected, and it wasn't even that.
Yeah.
I literally overthought that one thing.
I think that early on in my career, especially on training still, because it's like you're inexperienced, right? My inexperience, you overthink because you're not like, I haven't been faced with this before. I don't really know what to do. But then I would like literally remember like training officers would be like, don't overthink it. Just do it. And I'd be like, but I don't know what to do. Like, I have no idea. Like, because I'm already in my own head.
That's good.
So instead of like, even though I was a trainee at the time, it took me a while to realize like, hey, just remember like what you have to do and like blur out like everything else. Because there's so many other like moving parts that can consume your mind of like, well, then this happened or this, it doesn't matter. If it meets the criteria of like a crime, you just do it. Like, just take care of business.
Sure.
You got to leave the emotion out of it. And I think that's what I mean when it comes to like, you have to leave your emotions at the door when it comes to like scenarios where you have to think ahead and plan ahead, because ultimately those types of things will probably come. And when they do, you'll be prepared. So like, for example, the first time I ever had like a battery call or like a domestic violence call, it's like, I'm like, oh my gosh, like my emotions are worked up because I've never had to deal with this before. And so it's almost like, oh my gosh, like, what do I do here? This lady's hurting or this guy's, I don't know. Like, it's just, if your emotions get involved with it,
Sure.
it starts to blur your vision of what am I here to do? What do I have to do right now? And just go and do it. Simple as that. So I think it's really just like, there are certain things that have happened where later on, because of me planning ahead, I already knew. Like, for example, I'll give you like my partner and I had a call where someone was at a gas station and the clerk calls, like frantically calls and says like, there's someone outside with a gun and waving the gun everywhere. And then in the call, it says the clerk has locked himself in the bathroom. And I'm like, oh, this is probably legit.
Oh, yeah.
So as we're driving, my partner's like, all right, we're both talking. Here's the situation. If we get there and this dude points his gun at us, we know what to do.
And this is what's going on in
This
your
is
head.
what's about to happen. Like,
Yeah.
that's why there's no hesitation.
Sure.
Like, you're already planning ahead. If he's not pointing the gun at us, it's just like, hey, give him commands. Like, regardless, give him commands. Give him a shot. Give him an opportunity to put the gun down, whatever. So you're already running it through. And, like, you're in agreement? Cool, let's go. And we get there. Sure enough, this dude's standing in front of, like a gas, like one of the gas meters, like in front of a tank.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, oh, my gosh, we didn't plan for that part. Like, if we miss and hit that thing,
Oh.
like, is this going to blow? Like, I don't know.
God.
But ultimately,
Been terrible.
yeah, ultimately we showed up. This dude did have a gun, but he just dropped it immediately. Before we even got out of the car, he dropped it on the ground with his hands up in the air. And right away he goes, it's a toy gun. It's a toy gun. And we're just like, what are you doing with the toy gun at the gas station? So like we determined later on after our investigation that, yeah, it's a toy gun. But could you imagine even if it was a toy gun and he pointed it at us when we got there, like it was already somewhat decided in our head of like, this is what's going to happen. But like in relation to that, like to other things in life, right? I think about like at the church, if someone comes running up on stage towards our pastor, what am I going to do? I'm going to go sprint and just beeline
Body
this
slam
dude.
them.
Yeah, bro. And ultimately, there's going to be other people that do that, like they're going to help.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not going to be the only one.
40 people.
Elijah will probably be up there on, guitar and just probably throws guitar at the guys.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
He's just stabbing him in the eye with like his pick. You'll never do this again.
But I think it's simple as that. It's just having a plan of attack and then letting life happen. And like, you just have to adjust as you go. It's like same thing in football, right? Where
Oh, yeah.
you got a plan. This is it. Where you're going to go and execute it. But sometimes it doesn't always work out that way.
No,
Like you have
learn
to
from it.
adjust. And,
Yeah, adjust from it.
You have to go from that.
But even just overthinking something, there's those moments where you're in your room and it's amazing how as a human, we allow those quick moments of it's dark in the room, we see a figure in the corner of the room, and we immediately have the thought, oh my God, there's something in the room.
Yeah.
When all we literally have to do, because we're overthinking the entire thing, but all we have to do is literally make the decision, get up, walk 2 feet, a foot, a centimeter, and flip on your light, and it's your coat rack. You know what I mean? Like something. You know what I mean? No,
It's your coat rack.
it's your coat rack.
It
You know what I'm
totally
saying?
is, man.
It's like the small things. It's so wild. We are human.
Yeah.
But when we get so caught up in self,
Yeah.
and we don't lack the confidence of identity in knowing who we are and whose we are,
Yeah.
we get back to that original place of
That's what I'm saying.
victim.
Yeah.
We get back to the place of the garden with Adam and Eve.
Yeah.
And I was thinking earlier as you were talking, I was thinking like, what would it have been like watching the disciples in the boat and watching Jesus walk up?
Yeah.
Because it's interesting that Jesus was just passing by.
Mm-hmm.
Like he wasn't walking directly to them.
Yeah.
He was just passing by.
That's nuts.
But obviously he knew, and it was almost as if, what would the response be? Would they see me?
Yeah.
What would they do? So I'm just going to pass by their way.
Yeah.
Because he was walking to the other side,
Yeah.
which is crazy. But it's interesting that Peter was the only one that did it. But what if Peter, the story would be so interesting if Peter made it all the way to Jesus.
Yeah.
But it was that one little moment. And that's why I love this story, and I always if you know me, I like literally always say this phrase because it's a word that God has used in me. But what's significant about Peter, Peter was the one person out of all the disciples. He didn't like, Jesus, if it's you, call me to come out.
Yeah.
Okay, come out, Peter. Well,
Yeah.
it's interesting because he was the only one that was willing to leave everything behind and go to the very place,
Yeah.
to the very person that no one else was willing to go.
Right.
Everyone else seemed freaked out.
Right.
So he was walking on water. Obviously, maybe some scholars might believe, I don't know, but it doesn't say how far he walked. It said he stepped out.
Yeah.
He realizes, oh my God, I'm on water right now.
Right.
He could have made it halfway. He could have took one step and then boom.
Yeah.
It was the overthinking thought. And it's what caused him to sink.
It's crazy. It's super crazy. I don't know. It's like, did Peter plan it? Did Peter plan his confidence already? Like, in the sense of like, oh, I'm ready. Whenever God says I'm ready, let's do it. You know, I don't know. I think that like to apply that now, right? I actually think we when you are taking the word and preparing it and like applying it to your life, you are preparing yourself for anything that comes your way by, like, boom, like you said, you know where your identity lies, you know who your identity is in. So because of that, it doesn't matter what scenario comes your way, you already know the outcome of it.
That's good.
You know what I mean? Where it's like, hey, like, I just got let go of this job, but God's going to provide for my every need because he said he would. Because I'm relying on truth, right?
That's why daily reading matters.
Yes. And that's what I'm saying when it comes to these scenarios of like Masters of the Air, Band of Brothers, or like whatever it may be. You know, you're already running, hey, if something happens in my life where I might get let go of my job, I know I'm okay because God says I will be. As long as I live in obedience and being faithful to his word, what he's telling me to do, I know he's going to take care of every need for me.
That's good, man.
So like, but I'm not going to worry about that because I still have my job, right? It's like, you're just running a practical scenario
good.
in your head. Of like,
Yeah.
It's all good. You know, cool. Because of Jesus, and that's what, I feel like that's what Jesus is saying, man. It's like, it doesn't matter. Everything's good. Just follow me.
Yeah.
Peter, just come out. Follow me. You know what's going to happen if you trust me. Right?
Because I'm letting you get a taste of eternity.
Yeah.
Because what you're doing is impossible.
Yeah.
But the fact that you're standing on water,
Yeah.
that's the possibility of eternity.
Yeah.
And when you lock eyes with eternity, it causes everything else around you to just dissolve. And I'm now doing something absolutely impossible.
Yeah.
But the eternal one
Yeah.
who called me out, who created me, is telling me to literally step on the impossibility right now.
For sure.
And the fact that I'm doing it. That's why I think it's so cool, even with Band of Brothers. I just think it's so cool that I was just reminded that they train to not depend on self. They train to depend on the one on their left and their right.
100%.
If one man goes down, and you see it, you saw it every single time.
Every
they
episode.
literally drop their gun. It doesn't matter what they had.
Yeah.
They would take their backpack off, jacket off, whatever it is, and they would literally, in the moment of fire, they would drag their partner, if it was to a foxhole, to a bunker, to get covered.
Because their mind was already made up.
Exactly.
It wasn't they had to sit there and what should I do here? They already knew. So
But-
if you already know, you'll do it.
100%. And that's why I feel like that's why training was necessary.
1,000%.
Had they not been trained, it would be dependent on self.
For sure.
But because they were trained,
Yeah.
they were so trained and so drilled. Yes, the drilling, it's not fun.
No, it's overwhelming. Because I can attest to that from going through the police academy.
Oh, yeah.
I would never want to go through that again. But it was the most valuable, 6 months of my life to do what I was able to do for approximately 4 years on the field. They hammered it in you every day. Whatever way they wanted it to hammer in you, they did. But it stuck in your head so that if you made a mistake, you wouldn't make the same mistake twice, right? You can learn from it, move on, perfect it next time.
That's good.
Right? But you're so trained up to just go and just do it, right? And I feel exactly like what you're saying. If we can do that as Christians, as Jesus followers, right? We train ourselves up every day. And then ultimately, he's in the Bible, it's talking about community. It's the same thing with leaning on your left and to your right. It's the same concept. But it's a matter of us, like, we determine how far we go, right? What are the lengths that we're willing to go into battle with each other the same way? But it depends on the word. Like, it depends on your identity. It depends on your training. Like, what are you doing for your training?
It's good.
Because there's always a saying too, like in the Force, when they were saying like, "Oh, rely on your training. Rely on your training." They always would say that.
I thought you said the Force. Sorry.
I did say the Force.
Oh, you did say the Force?
Oh yeah, they call it the Force.
Oh,
Yeah.
you just pour a lightsaber out.
Like, how long are you on the Force for? Yeah. For
Luke?
sure. I know. Every time they would say the Force, my mind would go to Star Wars.
Yeah.
Every single time.
You Kylo Ren fan?
Oh, Kylo's sick.
Okay, Kylo was sick. Anyways, it's another
Kylo's
topic.
sick.
It's another topic.
No, it's all good.
But that's what Paul. That's why it's so necessary. It's so necessary that we have to read.
Yeah.
And the biggest challenge I a lot of times I try to ask myself. I want to ask myself this daily.
Yeah.
But if every word, like the physical word, YouVersion, every app,
Yeah.
listening to it, if it's a podcast or the physical, like actual word was taken away, how much of it do you actually know?
Right.
Like how much of it is in your spirit? If you don't understand it, it doesn't matter. There's still things right now that I'm reading. I don't understand it.
Yeah. I mean, it's a daily
But
walk.
but I know that I know I have to get it.
Yeah.
Because there will come a day, if it was ever taken away,
Oh.
there's something in there that's in me that I do know. Or if I read something the 1,000th time,
Yeah.
it comes alive in me. There's a revelation in that.
It's crazy, dude.
And that's the training. That's the pounding. That's the pruning. That's why it's so necessary what Paul is saying, to deny yourself. And it's interesting Jesus says Jesus said to deny yourself, pick up your cross and follow me. It didn't say his cross. Jesus already had his cross. He already had his crucifixion.
Sheesh. That's fire.
So it doesn't say pick up Jesus' cross.
No.
He already had his cross. He did it once. But for us, for that revelation of that love and that sacrifice he did on that day, we have to pick up our own. And I feel like it was like one of those moments where Peter had that self-denial moment. Jesus is asking me to come out on an impossible moment.
Yeah.
But if he said it, I believe it.
Exactly.
So I'm going to do it. So the fact that he stepped out,
He was relying on training.
Yes, I believe. Dude, that's so good.
Yeah.
That's so good.
Just practical.
I literally believe in that moment it was I'm not thinking about myself.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about the one that just called me to step out of this boat. So I'm going to do it. So I feel like it was that one little snippet moment that Peter in that moment had a self-denial. He picked up his cross and he stepped over that impossibility and he chased after eternity that was in front of him.
Yeah, and I think too, it's like the perfect picture is painted that self-denial, it's a reflection of it's not about me. It's about the other person. And him doing that was showing the other men in the boat that we can.
That's so good.
If as long as we keep our eyes on the Lord.
That's so
like
good.
we can go. Isn't that crazy?
That's so good.
But we overthink it.
It's firing me up right now.
Right? That's nuts.
That's good.
But we don't overthink it
Yeah.
when we rely on the training. We just rely on the word. The training is the word here in this conversation.
Yeah. If those listening, I just encourage you. I just feel to say this. Embrace the training ground that you're in.
Yeah, it's so good.
Like, embrace it.
Yeah.
Embrace waking up, getting up early. Get addicted to reading, to praying, to having a conversation with Jesus. Because as a reminder, he's a friend that's closer than a brother. Yep. And he is willing to sit on the edge of your bed where you are in the moment of your life, and he's willing to have a conversation.
Yeah.
And that's from myself.
Yeah. So good.
Oh, yeah.
God. I love
Bro,
you.
I love you so much. Let's go.
If this episode impacted you in any way, please like, subscribe, and share it with anyone else you might think will be positively impacted by it too.
Let's get it.
Let's go.